West Coast Milblogger. Your latest news on the conflicts around the world shaping our reality.
Busy week in Russia. Share the many breaking news developments this week from Russia. This Sunday, we're learning of a breaking news story from Moscow, where longtime Defense Minister Shoigu has been reassigned. Many remember our reporting on a close relationship between these two power sharers in the Kremlin. In most videos circulated in Western media, these two are inseparable. Even during the Wagner uprising, many speculated that Shoigu could become the supreme commander of the modern Russian Empire. When the FSB reported that Putin died at his home from a heart attack and Putin 2.0 took over as a puppet dictator, it seemed fitting Shoigu was pulling the strings. With the difficulty of obtaining insider information, we're forced into a wait and see. We're waiting for Shoigu to assume his new role to see if he jumps from a penthouse window. Or is he indeed the next in line to Putin 2.0? It's an interesting time for a change in leadership after a massive offensive got launched in the northeast of Ukraine, as the Russians hope to capture the second-largest city of Kharkiv. According to military analyses from Combat Vet News, this offensive looks doomed from the start. While it's true Russia has captured a large amount of mostly rural land looking good on maps, their army is now trapped between high terrain and rivers. If Western ammunition can reach this front line in time, it should become a turkey shoot. At the roast of Tom Brady, Robert Kraft reminded the Western world of the theft of his ring by the original Putin. He wants it back, just as Geronimo's family wants his skull back from Yale University. Yet to do so, Kraft must field an army of soldiers on the battlefield. It's the only game Russians know while fighting in their region since the birth of their nation. It's here where Brittany Griner unites us in the fight for the light of democracy.
China making waves. Detail recent efforts of President Xi to expand the power and influence of the Chinese dragon around the world. A victim of NATO, the world's #1 hemp economy, and the largest supporter of Russia, China's President Xi spent serious time in European courts of society despite France and Germany pledging to fight on the ground in Ukraine if Russia breaks through. Of course, nuclear rhetoric continues as if global leaders were talking about the weather. Adding to the tension in Europe during Xi's visit, a wanted notice for Ukrainian President Zelensky, who was then almost assassinated. Now breaking news from the South China Sea, where Chinese naval forces intercepted a U.S. destroyer. While it's debatable if the U.S. entered Chinese exclusive waters, as China's government claims more territory than allotted by the UN, if China invades Taiwan, there would be no question of who controls the seas. How the issue gets settled in these hot waters most likely extends into space exploration rules, where China has plans to build a moon base much like the coalition led by the US. Not to mention back on Earth, these countries have a brewing immigration crisis along the southern border with Mexico, a country the US has tapped for exports to replace China, vaunting mass production of solar panels while pushing to take the lead on semiconductor technology.
Welcome to Rafah. Explain what's happening in the Gaza Strip right now as aggression continues since the vicious October 7 attack on Israeli settlements. It's difficult to ascertain the true development of the war in this region as always. It can be politically divisive in America while not clearly defined along party lines officially. American media silencing thought on this through bombardment of Trump's trials that are truly domestic news. Back to the matter, there were celebrations being shown on Al Jazeera of people in Rafah cheering a peace treaty being signed in Egypt by Hamas. Crowds of mostly children jumping for joy in front of a truck with leaflets, music, and prayers on loudspeakers. Yet on CNN, Israel attacked the Rafah border crossing the next morning to take control of who can leave and enter the Gaza Strip. In view of America's threats to stop providing munitions to Israel, the Jews have vowed to keep fighting on the ground until Hamas is defeated. Iran continues nuclear threats as well. The Russia of the Middle East putting chess pieces in tactical locations for a final decisive strategic move against the Jews. Now, Hamas finds strength to raise arms again, to fight the Israeli Defense Force with words from a foreign capital. Meanwhile, the young man with expensive rings on his fingers must run from piles of debris to piles of debris, not knowing why peace has not been kept. Happy Mother's Day.